I want to say this to our community, and it's going to probably piss some of y'all off, but it's the realest shit I'm going to say. Our community is so built on gatekeeping to each other that it's crazy. I have been trying to learn how to farm and things like that. I've been watching a lot of TikToks and things like that, but I've been trying to figure out how to fill out this USDA loan or the application so I can start the process of trying to get some funds to get my own farm and get my own land and stuff like that. And everybody is telling me to buy their ebooks or purchase their book that they have online, which tells you everything. $30, $40 books. Now, if we live in an economy where we can barely buy eggs, what makes you think that I can afford your book? Okay, I'm just asking for some help. So if there are any black farmers in the DMV area that are willing to help other black individuals, other content creators who are looking to get into farming and learn about farming and growing our own agriculture and things like that, that are willing to help for free, that will help build the community of the black farmers, please comment or send me in that direction, because I'm so sick of y'all. I get it. Money makes the world go around. Y'all got to make a living too. I get that. But the information that y'all are giving was free to you, is what I'm saying. Y'all learned this information for free, and now y'all charging everybody else to get it, which is crazy as fuck in this economy, especially the way the world is about to finna go for us. You would think that you would want to help wholeheartedly the black community grow in farming, but y'all just want to make a buck, which is crazy. I mean, I guess that's how America works. I mean, it is how America works. It works off of money, right? It works off the dollar. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right? But y'all are holding the black community stagnant that wants to learn about farming.
The black community has long suffered under the weight of systemic racism and discrimination. As white people, it is our responsibility to use our privilege to support and uplift the black community. Here are a few ways that we can be better allies. Listen and learn. We need to listen to black voices and experiences without interrupting or dismissing them. We should educate ourselves on the history of systemic racism and the ways that it continues to impact the black community today. We should seek out resources, books, and documentaries that help us understand the issues. Next, speak up. We should use our privilege to speak up against racism and discrimination. We should challenge racist comments and behaviors, even if it's uncomfortable. Silence that which perpetuates racism. We should support black-owned businesses in our communities. We should advocate for policies that support economic justice and equity. Donate to black-led organizations. Financially support black-led organizations that are working to address systemic racism and inequality. It can be done through regular contributions or contributing to certain campaigns and initiatives. We should also use our platforms for good as white people. We have access to platforms and audiences that the black community may not have. We should use our platforms to amplify black voices and perspectives, raise awareness about issues affecting the black community, and promote positive change. Be open to feedback and learning from our mistakes, as we will make mistakes along the way. But it's important to acknowledge them, apologize, and learn from them. We should be open to feedback and willing to change our behavior and perspectives as we continue to learn and grow. Being a better ally to the black community requires a willingness to listen, learn, and take action. It requires us to use our privilege for good, support black-owned businesses and communities, and speak up against racism and discrimination. It's up to all of us to work towards a more just and equitable society, and being a better ally is an important step.
What happens when the people you push away were the same people holding your economy together? That is the question America is being forced to answer right now. Because for years, many people were told a simple story. They were told immigrants were taking jobs. They were told black people needed to get back to work. They were told mass deportation will fix everything. They were told America will become richer, stronger, and more secure once certain people were removed from the system. But now, the same farmers that supported those policies are crying out. The same farmers who shouted for deportation are now saying they do not have enough hands to harvest their own crops. The same people who believed workers could easily be replaced are now discovering that food does not magically appear on supermarket shelves. And the most shocking part is this. Some of them thought that once migrant workers were pushed out, Black people from the so-called inner cities will rush into the field and take these jobs. But Black America heard that loud and clear. And the answer is simple. That is not happening. Right now, America's farming sector is facing a painful reality. Crops are ready. Yes, crops are ready. Fields are waiting. Harvest season does not care about politics. Soybeans do not care about campaign speeches. Fruits do not care about immigration slogans. When it is time to pick, plant, package, move, and sell food, somebody has to do the work. And for decades, a huge part of that work has been carried by migrant workers. Many of these workers accepted back-breaking jobs under the hot sun. Long hours, low pay, little protection, no luxury, no applause. They were not celebrated. They were not treated like heroes, but they kept the system moving. Now that many of them have been pushed out, threatened, or made afraid to show up, farmers are beginning to understand the truth. The people they looked down on were the backbone of the industry. And this is where the story becomes more bigger than farming. This is not just about soybeans. It is not just about fruit. It is not just about labor shortages. This is about what happens when a country builds its economy on people it refuses to respect. Because when migrant workers were doing the job, many people called them illegal. But when the crops started rotting, suddenly they became essential. When Black people warned that the black job conversation was coded language, many people said they were overreacting. But now, when politicians speak about inner city people not wanting to do farm labor, the meaning becomes very clear. They thought Black people were waiting around with no jobs, no ambition, no business, no education, no plans, and no future. They thought if the migrant workers disappeared, Black people would quietly return to the field for low wages and hard labor. But this is not happening. This is not the old America they are dreaming about. Black people are building businesses. Black people are in tech. Black people are in medicine. Black people are in law, media, finance, education, entertainment, farming, politics, and entrepreneurship. Black people are not sitting somewhere waiting for someone to throw them an $11 an hour job under 100-degree heat. No, they are not. So when farmers ask, where are the workers? The real question should be, why did you support policies that attack the very workers you depended on? Now, before we go deeper, welcome to the Power Lens, where we look beyond the headlines and expose the power, politics, and hypocrisy behind the news. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to this channel, like this video so more people can see it. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, because this conversation is bigger than one farm, one politician, or one election. Please share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth behind what is happening.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before, the Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks, the white farmers. So word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get Black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought Black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that Black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with their whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put Black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen.
Now, the farm economy is under serious pressure. Yes, farmers are complaining about high production costs, expensive equipment, rising fertilizer prices, and falling crop prices. Soybeans farmers have been especially worried because China, one of the biggest buyers of American soybeans, has reduced or delayed purchases during trade tension. And when trade slows down, farmers suffer. But here's the part many people do not want to say out loud. Some of these farmers voted for the very policies that placed them in this situation. They supported tariffs, then cried when foreign buyers pulled back. They supported deportation, then cried when workers disappeared. They supported politicians who promised pain for other people, then acted shocked when that pain reached their own doorsteps. That is the danger of politics built on resentment. You may think the fire is only going to burn your neighbor's house until the wind changes direction and brings the flames to your own front door. And now some farmers are asking for government help. There is nothing wrong with farmers needing help. Farming is difficult. Food production is important. A nation that cannot feed itself is in trouble. So yes, when farmers are in crisis, the government should pay attention. But here's where the hypocrisy becomes loud. When black farmers asked for support, many were blocked, ignored, delayed, or challenged. When black farmers spoke about historic discrimination, land loss, unequal access to loans, and unfair treatment, some people said no, that is special treatment. But now that white farmers are suffering, government assistance is suddenly not a problem. Suddenly it is not welfare. Suddenly it is not dependency. Suddenly it is not laziness. Suddenly it is saving American agriculture. So let us ask this question: why is help called welfare when black people need it, but called relief when white farmers need it? And here is the answer: because in politics, language is often used to protect some people and shame others. When poor black families need help, they are called lazy. When migrants need protection, they are called criminals. When black farmers need justice, they are told to stop complaining. But when powerful voting groups face the consequences of their own choices, the whole system suddenly finds sympathy. That is the double standard. And that is why this story matters. Because America is not only facing a farm crisis, it is facing a truth crisis. The truth is that migrant workers were never stealing jobs. No, they were never stealing jobs. They were doing jobs many Americans refused to do at the wages being offered. The truth is that black people were never waiting to be sent back into the field. Yes, they were busy building lives beyond the imagination of people who still see them through an old racist lens. The truth is that farmers cannot demand cheap labor, vote against the people providing that labor, and then cry when the system collapses. The truth is that racism is expensive. It costs family, it costs businesses, it costs industry, it costs nations. When you remove workers without a serious plan, you damage the economy. When you start trade wars without understanding the market, you hurt producers. When you build policy on anger instead of reality, ordinary people pay the price. And now some farmers are paying that price. Some are afraid that they will lose land that has been in their families for generations. Some are watching crops sit with no buyers. Some are wondering if their children and grandchildren will inherit anything at all. Some are begging the same political leaders they supported to rescue them from the crisis those leaders helped create. That is not just irony, that is consequence. And consequences do not care about slogans. You can chant all day, you can wave flags all day, you can blame immigrants all day, you can blame black people all day, but when they feel needs workers, they feel needs workers. When China does not buy your soybeans, China does not buy your soybeans. When your production cost is higher than your income, no campaign speech will balance the books. This is where political fantasy meets economy reality, and reality always wins. Now, let us be very, very clear here. This is not about celebrating anyone's suffering. Nobody should be happy that farmers are struggling. Farmers feed nations, okay? Agriculture is too important to be treated like a political toy. Accountability simply means asking hard questions. Yes. Why did so many people support policies that targeted workers? Why did they believe immigrants could be thrown away without consequences? Why did they assume black people would accept the job they refused to properly pay? Why did they ignore warnings until the crisis reached their own farms? These are the questions that must be asked, because if America wants a real solution, it cannot keep pretending. It must admit that agriculture depends on labor. It must admit that migrant workers deserve dignity and protection. It must admit that black labor is not something to be summoned whenever the system is desperate. It must admit that farmers need fair trade policies, not political theater. It must admit that food security cannot be built on exploitation, because here is the bigger picture. If farmers collapse, food prices rise. Yes, if food prices rise, what happens? Family suffers, and if family suffers, what happens? The whole country feels it. So this is not just a royal issue. This is not just a black issue. This is not just an immigrant issue. This is a national issue. But the solution cannot be to drag people back into unpaid labor while pretending nothing happened. If migrant workers are needed, then give them legal protection, pay them fairly, respect their humanity, stop using them during harvest season and attacking them during election season. If farmers need help, then support them honestly, but do not support them while ignoring black farmers who have been fighting for fairness for generations. If America wants workers, then make the jobs worth taking. Do not insult people, underpay them, threaten them, and then act surprised when they refuse to show up. Because people are not tools, people are not political props, people are not disposable, and black people are not going back to anybody's fantasy's version of the past. That chapter is closed. So, to the farmers who are now angry, afraid, and desperate, maybe this is the moment to ask yourself something deeper. Did you vote for policy, or did you vote for resentment? Did you vote for your future, or did you vote against someone else's? Did you vote for your farm, or did you vote for a feeling? Because sometimes people are so focused on making sure another group suffers that they do not notice they are voting against their own survival. And now the bill has arrived, the crops are waiting, the workers are gone, the buyers are uncertain, the costs are rising, and the same people who were told everything will be fine are now asking what happened. What happened is simple. You cannot run an economy on hate. Yes. You cannot feed a nation with slogans. You cannot disrespect workers and expect loyalty. You cannot attack immigrants and then beg them to save your harvest. You cannot look down on black people and then expect them to rescue the system that never respected them. That is the lesson. And whether people like it or not, this story is exposing something powerful. The people society calls low skilled are often the same people holding everything together. The people politicians use as scapegoats are often the same people keeping food on the table. The people being pushed to the margins are often the ones carrying the weight of the country. And when they disappear, everybody notices. So here's my final question for you. Did you think these farmers deserve government help after supporting policies that hurt migrant workers and ignore black farmers? Or should they face the full consequences of what they voted for? Drop your answer in the comment section. Thank you for watching The Power Lens. If this video opened your eyes, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this conversation. Until next time, keep looking at the world through the power lens. Thank you so much and have a nice day.